Crawford wants this fight a lot. He wants this fight, and I think he will be more active than Canelo's previous opponent, and he has different mentality. He has champion mentality.
Canelo fighting against Crawford, you need more than power, you need more than speed, you need ring IQ, you need literally everything, because this is the two best pound-for-pound fighters.
That's a real risk there for him of taking the fight. I mean, you know, of course, he's like any other champ. He wants to make you guys salivate what y'all want to make us pay for, which is smart.
The boxing scene is buzzing after Turkey Al-Sheikh made it official. Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford will square off. In his tweet, he said, "We're bringing the fight of the century with Riyadh season on September 12th at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Canelo, the legend, defends his Ring Magazine belt against the amazing Terence Crawford. The TV broadcaster will be revealed soon with a huge surprise. My brother Dana White will help me promote this first TKO boxing event. It's going to be wild." This first face-off has stirred up huge excitement across the boxing world. It came right after Canelo beat William Skull on May 3rd, 2025 in Riyadh, where Al-Sheikh organized their first stare-down, just as Canelo became undisputed super middleweight champ again. The upcoming fight has drawn mixed opinions from boxing icons, experts, and fans. Dmitry Bivol, who once gave Canelo a rare loss, thinks Crawford's hunger and constant activity might trouble Canelo. Bivol stresses that Crawford's focus and ability to adapt could be key in handling the power and pace at 168 pounds.
Crawford wants this fight a lot. He wants this fight, and I think he will be more active than Canelo's previous opponent, and he has different mentality. He has champion mentality. I think the fight will be much more interesting.
What do you make of the weight in that fight, the weight difference?
I think Crawford will not let Canelo just walking on the ring when he wants, you know, because we could see this fight. Canelo did everything. When he wanna rest, he could rest easy, you know, in this fight. Yeah, of course, when he wants to work, that guy didn't give him work. He just rest.
I
think with Crawford, it will be harder to rest.
Who do you think wins?
I don't know. It's a very interesting fight, but I don't know. We'll see.
Former world champ Amir Khan, who has fought both men, points out how ring smarts will matter most in this bout. Khan says that while Canelo might hit harder, Crawford's sharper movement, speed, and boxing brain could tip the balance in his favor.
And he could have gone either way, because I had probably Skull winning by 2 rounds. I mean, I like Canelo. I think he's a great fighter, but the thing is, I think that he was looking he was picking the shots better and landing the better, cleaner shots. Canelo was marked up a little bit, but look, he could have gone either way. Anyway, regardless how the fight went, it was a great performance by both fighters, but it's made a bigger fight happen now with Canelo and Crawford. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Is there more question marks being asked in that fight now? Because a lot of people say, look, Canelo's a bigger guy. He should technically be the bigger guy, have too much weight for Crawford, but from that performance, do you feel like it's a lot tight and there's a lot more question marks in that fight?
Yeah, I mean, you need more than size, you need more than weight, you need more than everything. I mean, I think what you need now is you just need box IQ, the right box IQ, you know what I mean? You need to be smart. And someone like Canelo fighting against Crawford, you need more than power, you need more than speed, you need ring IQ, you need literally everything, because this is the two best pound-for-pound fighters who are going to be fighting each other, even though Crawford is going to be giving away a lot of weight. But I feel that it could go either way.
Boxing great. Roy Jones Jr. says the result might depend on Canelo's mindset. If Canelo steps into the ring underestimating Crawford, thinking he can win easily, he could be in trouble. Jones stresses that Canelo must take Crawford seriously and prepare the right way.
Favor in that fight.
You know, it's a hard one to call, and I'm gonna tell you why it's hard to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. It all depends on which Canelo come to the dance.
And just two more. Jaron Ennis, a lot of people say there's similarities between you and him. What do you think of this fight coming up with Stanionis?
We're going to find out a lot about Jaron Ennis against Stanionis because Stanionis is a very good prospect up and coming.
Hall of Famer. Juan Manuel Marquez is doubtful about this matchup, warning that Crawford moving up in weight could hurt him. Marquez believes weight classes exist for a reason and that Crawford may be stretching his limits by facing Canelo at super middleweight.
I don't like the fight because Terence Crawford is a good fighter, but in the sport of boxing we have divisions. You know what I mean? You know?
Right, weight classes.
You know what?
Right.
Yeah, weight classes
for a reason.
Weight classes for and Terence Crawford is a good fighter in super lightweight, welterweight, super welterweight, but I think more. I remember when Terence Crawford fought with Madrimo.
Yes.
He looks slow. He looks with no power, and three more divisions. Two more divisions. I think it's a tough fight for Terence Crawford, but Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He has a great defense. He has a good combination of punches, but I think the weight class is no good for him.
William Skull, who just lost to Canelo Alvarez, understands how important the Alvarez versus Crawford fight is. Though he didn't go into detail, Skull recognizes the hype and major interest surrounding this big-time clash.
No, pues es una cajita sorpresa, no se sabe. Hay que esperar la pelea ahí y después ver la decisión, pero todavía no tengo nada así claro.
Well, I really have nothing much to say. Boxing is like a Pandora's box, so it's about to wait and see.
Terence Crawford sees this fight as the biggest break of his life. He admits Canelo is the top name in the sport and is excited to show off his skills on such a big stage. Crawford's confidence and drive to own this moment reflect his mission to make history.
Fighting boxing.
Well, Canelo's the face of boxing. He's the best fighter for Terence Crawford out there. He's the biggest fight for Terence Crawford out there. So that's why Terence Crawford want to take the opportunity to share a ring with another great.
How do you beat him?
UFC. Come 12.
Everyone's talking about the weight differences. What's your kind of response to that, Terence?
That's why we fight the fight. So September 12th, we all gonna see if the weight gonna make a difference or not.
Do you want to fight him twice and then retire? Is that kind of the ideal thing for you?
One fight at a time. One fight at a time.
Canelo Alvarez wants Crawford to come into the ring ready to give fans a thrilling show. Looking back at his fight with William Skull, Canelo says he hopes his challengers will fight to win, not just to survive. He believes fans deserve fireworks and expects Crawford to deliver.
That's a mediocre mind because they come just to survive, to go to the 12th round. That's a mediocre mind. You need to put a good fight there and put a great show. You know what I mean?
Do you think Crawford will employ the same tactics to try and box?
I hope not. I hope not because the people deserve a good fight.
What do you make of the Crawford fight next?
Huh?
How excited are you for the Crawford fight?
I'm excited. I'm gonna enjoy this win and then we think that's good.
British welterweight Conor Benn sees this as a dead-even fight, calling it a true 50-50 battle. His take highlights how competitive it is, with both boxers bringing very different but dangerous tools to the ring.
With Crawford going up, I believe he can put a beating on anybody 154, 160. Nah, Benavidez is... Canelo. I think he's a smart fighter. He doesn't rely on his power. Crawford ain't a fighter who just relies on his power. And then Canelo, when he's fought Belenga, then fought Ryder, Munguia. It's even. I think it'd be a 50-50 fight if Crawford fought Canelo.
Some critics have voiced worries about how Canelo looked in his recent fight with Skull, saying he seemed slower and less dominant. They question if Canelo still has what it takes to stay on top, especially against someone as skilled and sharp as Crawford, given how quiet his last fight was.
After really the Triple G fight is when we've seen the slippage on Canelo. And over the last 2 years, it's been immediately apparent. It's been apparent straight away over the last 2 years. Canelo's feet have always been slow. He's always been very slow-footed. So when people are saying, oh, it looks like his legs are slowing down, yeah, they are. They've never been quick, but now they're even slower, which is a problem. And Jim Lampley on commentary on Friday night show was saying that one of Canelo's biggest strengths is his legs. It generates power and it helps with his punch resistance. Well, those legs slide and that power is diminishing. Canelo hasn't had a stoppage win now since he knocked out Caleb Plant in 2021. And yeah, he's dropped some of these guys, but he's not been able to step on the gas and finish them. He's not been able to go through the gears. His gas tank, you can put that into question as well. And Canelo Alvarez, come July, be 35 years old. So he is. Look, Canelo's been around so long, and his real prime was in his mid-20s. So we associate Canelo mid-20s to early 30s. So we kind of associate Canelo with that. I don't want to say ever young, but you know, he is still young, just not in boxing senses. But he's been around so long, 20 years a pro, and he's been at world levels for probably 15 of those. You're going to expect some slippage. And I think in this fight, an opponent, it was very negative, yes, but an opponent who Canelo Alvarez of 5 years ago would have handled, and he did handle him, but you know what I mean, he probably would have put some damage on William Skull. He didn't do anything. He didn't look good. And William Skull played his part in that, it has to be said. As I said, you fight that negative, there's only so much you can really do, you know, even if you're Canelo Alvarez, even if you are Alexander Usyk.
Trainer Joel Diaz believes that the size gap between Canelo and Crawford might play a major role. He points out that Canelo has shown he can take punches from bigger men, and that Crawford might struggle to make a big impact in a higher weight class.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that. I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting American. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Madrimov was a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ. I don't think Crawford has anything to beat Canelo.
Former champ and promoter Oscar De La Hoya has doubts about the fight, calling it more about money than competition. He points out that history shows smaller fighters rarely beat bigger ones when skills are equal, casting doubt on Crawford's chances at 168.
William who? Canelo versus William Skull. William who? Oscar
being back in New York over here.
No, let's just say Canelo Crawford. In the history of boxing, and this is the facts.
Let's get it.
If you see Thursdays, Thursdays, I speak the facts. All right, I'll even do it for you. A good little man has never beaten a good big man in the history of the game, unless you go back to certain situations with Pacquiao beat me, but I was a dead man walking in there. But a good little man never beats a good big man, so it's a tough test for Crawford, but I'm not counting him out. The bottom line, this is the truth again, it's a money grab. That's it.
Yeah.
But Crawford doesn't rely on his power, he relies on his IQ. Crawford, what he did to Spence was magic, was incredible, was amazing. And so, look, one thing about Canelo is that we all know that he walks in the ring as if there's wet cement, right? His footwork is a little too heavy. Crawford is such a smart fighter where he can he's like Bruce Lee, literally. And he's in his peak, he's his prime. And so I think that if that fight ever happens, which I don't think it will, if that fight ever happens, I have to go with Crawford.
Okay, you have Oscar De La Hoya talking about Crawford.
Super middleweight contender David Benavidez thinks Crawford's skill set and hard work could help him pull off an upset win over Canelo Alvarez.
The Ring magazine, which is owned by Turkey, reported that Canelo and Crawford have agreed to the September date and that it's essentially on. What is your I know this has been rumored and talked about, but now it seems like a done deal. What's your reaction to this?
It's a good fight. It's a good fight for both of them. Good fight for, I think it's more important for Crawford than anybody, but I think if anybody could beat Canelo, I think Crawford could.
Yeah, I know you said he could be the guy. What kind of a chance do you ultimately give him?
I think you give him a 7 out of a 10.
Oh wow, that high. I thought you were going to say 25.
Crawford is good. Crawford is good, and I think he's been known that he's going to fight Canelo for a long time. And Crawford, he likes to pick up the weight, so I'm sure he's been working on the weights for a long time. So Crawford, when he has with a person that has a big IQ like that, if you do enough weights, and you stay working for a long time, you have a puncher's chance.
Unified heavyweight champ Oleksandr Usyk believes skill beats size in boxing. He says Crawford's sharp technique and timing might give him an edge, even though Alvarez is naturally bigger.
A potential fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford. How do you see that fight?
I like Terence. Wow, friend, but it's crazy, man. Listen, I say Terence win. Yes.
What? Terence win over Canelo.
Yes, Terence win. But listen, Terence is different man. Terence work in two sides. Two sides.
Right.
And
right.
Cheddar.
Yes.
Right and left. But it's very smart man. It's very smart. But feel distance and place.
Adjustment. Exactly. You don't think the weight difference will be a factor too much?
Mario, you're asking him?
That's why. That's why. That's why I'm asking exactly.
Canelo big, Canelo too. It's a good box, but I say.
Ex-welterweight champ Sean Porter, who fought Crawford before, wonders if Crawford can handle Canelo's punching power. Porter knows Crawford is tough, but questions whether he can take the hits from a naturally larger and stronger fighter.
The others say, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo has, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean? We tried to do that with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and we see how that panned out, you know what I mean? So
promoter Eddie Hearn calls the fight a freak show because of the big size gap. He warns that even if Crawford performs well, the weight difference is still a major issue, and if Canelo wins, it may not feel like a real victory because of that mismatch.
How is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
one weight class.
68, but you're coming up from 35, 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. He's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo Alvarez. But you have to use your movement. If you're Terence Crawford in that fight, the last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight. Trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course, that's the way to beat him.
Former super middleweight champ Caleb Plant praises Crawford's smart and flexible style. He thinks that even though size is a factor, Crawford's ring IQ and strategy could keep the fight close and surprise people.
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And You know, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. You know, Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, you know, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, you know, be able to find out firsthand.